Let's talk more about emotions.
Yeah, every emotion is only possible with a certain alignment of your musculature. So anger is only possible if you're holding your muscles in a certain way. Disgust is only possible if you're holding your muscles in a certain way. So if you're poised, and if you're up, and if you're taking your full space in the world, it's very hard to be overwhelmed by disabling emotions, such as the really intense ones, such as hate or the out of control anger emotions or any out of control emotions. Because when you're poised, it's just really hard to access those emotions. To access anger or to access disgust or to access hatred, I would have to pull down and go into some version of fight or flight to really feel those emotions and to really live in them. So many people, well, virtually everybody who takes Alexander lessons, they find themselves becoming more and more tranquil. So that is a universal rule. As we let go of these habits of unnecessary compression, kind of these extreme emotions of anger and hatred and disgust and frustration and depression, they start to thin. So they don't disappear. You can still access them, but they become less powerful.
So several times you've spoken about taking your full place in the world. What is your full place in the world?
Well, for me, I was pulled down by about an inch or two. So I gained about an inch or two in height as I let go of my needless patterns of holding and compression. For other people, they're going through life kind of tilted to one side. And other people, they tend to do something weird with their back. Or other people, they're real neck stiffness and they kind of contort their head-neck-back relationship. So if you simply start letting go of these interfering tension patterns, then you can find out on your own what is your full place in the world. So for some people, that might mean gaining 4 inches in height. For other people, it might be just a very infinitesimal difference, but it's a difference that will make a significant change in the way they think and feel and move.
Well, let's talk about other people relating to you. That might be my last question, I think.
Yeah, so do you want to relate to somebody who's got all these weird interfering tension patterns? Like most of us don't particularly want to be around people who are all contorted and pulled down and deformed in the way they use themselves. On the other hand, would you prefer to be around somebody who's poised and tranquil and moves with elegance and speaks with grace? Yeah, most people would rather be around somebody like that. So if you're all angry and contorted and stuck in fight or flight, people are going to shy away from you. But if you're poised and you're tranquil in the way you relate to yourself, you're going to be poised and tranquil in the way you relate to other people. You're going to be a lot easier to be around, and you'll find that your relationships are a lot more harmonious.
And this is called good use?
Well, that's part of the jargon that we have in Alexander technique is, how do you use yourself? So you might have a bike, or you might have a car, or you might have a computer, and how do you use your computer? If you're constantly turning it off without shutting down first, if you're abusing your computer, you're going to have some problems with your computer. But on the other hand, if you take care of your computer and you've got a good virus protection program and you follow the rules, your computer is more likely to operate well. So too, there are some basic principles for how the human being operates, or all vertebrate animals. For instance, for all vertebrate animals, the neck is very important. You can immobilize any vertebrate animal just by grabbing the neck. And so whether it's cats or dogs or a steer or a human being, you can most easily immobilize them by going for the neck. So the neck is vitally important, and the head-neck-back relationship is going to have a significant effect on the way the person thinks, feels, moves, speaks, and the way they see the world. Because if you're contorted in your head-neck-back relationship and it's all out of alignment and you're all freaky in the way you look and you got all these weird tension patterns, then that's going to affect the way you think and the way you speak to people.
It's not superficial, but it sounds that people should judge you by your poise.
Well, whether people should or should not judge you by your poise, they are going to judge you in part by your poise, because the way you're holding yourself is going to affect other people, just like the way you breath. If you, I mean, your breath is going to affect people. So if you choose not to shower, if you choose not to brush your teeth, if you choose not to, take care of this big, ugly, deforming scar on your face, that's going to affect the way people relate to you. So too, if you have these big, ugly, deforming tension patterns, that's going to affect you. So almost all head, neck, back pain is related to unnecessary muscular holding. So we almost cause almost all our own problems and pains in that area. And if we could learn to let go of this unnecessary tension, we'd be able to let go of our back pain, our neck pain, our head pain. And someone who's not in pain is a lot easier to relate to and to be around than somebody who's constantly immobilized by their unnecessary tension patterns.
So it sounds almost like a prescription for modern life where people are behind a computer all day long.
Yeah, the more you sit, the more problems you're going to have. Basically, if you have a sedentary job where you're sitting in a chair at least 8 hours a day, you are going to have back problems. And it's going to be a very rare person who's able to sit for hours a day without having back problems. So just sitting in a chair really predisposes you to trouble, and it's very unhealthy. So with Alexander Technique, you can learn to sit more efficiently, more effectively, you can be more poised, and you can do various things to let go of the unnecessary compression patterns that almost universally accompany life in the Western world, where you're sitting around in chairs. So chairs are really bad for you. They're as bad as smoking. And if you can arrange your life so that you do less of it, so that perhaps you have a desk where you're standing up and typing, looking at the computer, where you've got a lectern, where you read a book standing up, that is much healthier than sitting in a chair.
Is there anything else? So on your website, you have a lot of information on Alexander Technique. Why don't you give out your web address?
Yes, my website is alexander90210.com, and I write a lot about the Alexander Technique and how it can be applied to music, to dance, to athletics, to psychotherapy, to public speaking and performance, and how you can use the Alexander Technique to let go of your interfering tension patterns so that you can become your best self.
I like how it will help you with your emotions.
Yeah, I mean, who wants to be stuck in all sorts of defeating emotions? Like, it's not very pleasant to be stuck in rage or anger or depression. And if you can let go of the unnecessary pulling down, pulling in, and the tightening that always accompanies anger, depression, hatred, disgust, and these really strong emotions, they're always accompanied by tension. And so if you can learn to let go of that, you're going to naturally become more poised and more tranquil, and you're going to think more clearly, and your emotions also will become more mellow.
That sounds great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.